This young man is about to go to prison for 15 years, and his father always told him, if you ever go to prison, don't expect me to write you, call you, or put money on your book.
Killer.
This young man is about to go to prison for 15 years, and his father always told him, if you ever go to prison, don't expect me to write you, call you, or put money on your books. As a child, that was drilled into his head. So when he committed the crime that was going to put him in prison for 15 years, he literally thought that his father would forget about what he was saying. When the son was on trial and he got found guilty, the father told him, we'll hear from you in 15 years. For some weird reason, he thought his father was joking. And then he said to himself, if my father won't talk to me, if my father won't send me money, my mom will. So this young man tried to call his mother and father, never got a reply. He wrote letters, never got a reply. So 8 years passed, right? Never talked to his father, never talked to his mother. He gets a letter from his father. And his father said, I told you I would never write you, but I feel like I owe you this. I just want you to know that your mother passed away. And then he said, the next time you will hear from me, if somebody else passed away, or when you get out. Said, P.S. I love you, hold your head up. The letter was short, plain, and simple. The young man broke down in tears. He was mentally beat up, mentally drained. He hasn't talked to his mother or father for almost 10 years. 10 years. He started growing hatred in his heart for his father because he felt like his father was the reason why he could not connect with his mother. So when he got out, he was going to take out his anger and aggression on his father because he felt like he deserved it. So now it's his release date. He had some friends pick him up. They hang out, talk, laugh, joke, and everything. But the only person that was on his mind was his father. He had so much bottled up that he wanted to express himself to his father so he could feel good about himself. So he leaves the little get-together that he had, calls his father and tells him, I got a bone to pick with you. The father says, well, at least you could have did was call me and ask me how I'm doing before you tell me you got a problem with me. The son responds, well, you didn't care how I was doing, so why should I care about you? The father said, well, you cared enough to call. He said, yeah, because I want to tell you how I feel. The father said, well, I don't care how you feel. I would have never called you. Son get mad, say, man, you supposed to be my dad, but okay, where you at right now? The father says, I'm still in the same place you grew up at, and I'm always going to be here. You know the address. He said, all right, here I come right now. The father said, I'll be waiting. So the son get in the car with his friends, and they pull over to his dad's house. Once they pull up to the dad's house, he knocked on the door. The father says, the door's open. The young man come in the door with an angry face, ready to take out all his anger and aggression. But then when he looked at his dad, he was sitting comfortably on a chair with his weapon on his lap. So now he went from angry to being cautious. The father said, I know you're mad at me. Have a seat. The young man said, I ain't finna stay here for long. The father said, I said have a seat. The young man sits down. The father says, now tell me what's on your mind. He said, how can you allow my mother not to talk to me the whole time I've been in prison? You supposed to be my father. That's my mother. How could you do this to your own child? Now I gotta deal with the pain of not ever seeing my mother because of you. The father let him speak his piece until he was quiet. Then the father told him, son, you did this to yourself. He said, I told you ever since you was a little boy, if you ever go to jail or prison, I wasn't gonna support you. Cause me supporting you in that cage only means I supported your behavior to put you in that cage. If I allow you to get put in the cage because of your behavior, and I send you money, give you calls to be your therapist, write you letters to let you know you're not alone, I'm not holding you accountable for what you did. When you chose to do that crime, you didn't think you was gonna get caught, and I understand. But when you chose to do that crime, you chose to take yourself away from us. He said, son, think about it. If you would have never did the crime, you would have been here talking to your mother. If you would have never did the crime, me and you could have had a better relationship. If you would have never did the crime, you could have been somewhere in life. You chose to take the easy way out, and now you got to deal with the consequences. He said, son, Smart people hold themselves accountable. Ignorant people look for sympathy. You ain't gonna get no sympathy when I raised you not to put yourself in that situation. The son say, you know what, Dad? I get what you're saying. But what if it wasn't my fault? The father say, son, it was always your fault. He said, see, Dad, that's the thing. My friends really committed the crime. I ain't even do nothing. The father say, so you really don't know what you did in that situation? He said, what you mean? He said, son, you chose to hang around them no good at, excuse my language. You chose them friends. You knew they wasn't no good, and you still chose to hang around them. You remember when me and your mama used to always say, if your friends jump off a bridge, would you jump off one? And son, what would you always say? He said, I say no because I'm not a follower. He said, so why you follow them young men to do that? You want me to have sympathy for you jumping off a bridge because your friends did it? He said, take accountability, son. Because the moment you take accountability is the moment you become a man. He said, but Dad, I did take accountability. I know I committed the crime. He said, you didn't take accountability because you just told me you didn't. Now the young man is looking at his father like, man, he 1,000% right. The father tell him, I still love you. I support you being a better man, but I would not support your bad decisions. Father said, I would hug you right now, but I still don't trust you when I'm actually leave my house. Young man had a tear drop out his eye and say, Dad, I love you. And thank you for the real love. He said, it was tough on me, but I know you really love me. The young man jumped in the car with the friends that came and picked him up and realized that these is the same guys he was committing crimes with. Then he started realizing that as long as he been in jail, these people ain't getting nowhere in life. The next morning, he cut off every friend he had because after 15 years, they should have been somewhere in life. They still in the streets, no jobs, doing the same thing. And when that young man started holding himself accountable for all the decisions that he made, he became a mentor for young women and young men to put them back on the right track. Found him a good woman and created multiple businesses. And all the dudes he used to kick it with back in the day say, man, you acting funny. You don't kick it with us no more. Why is that? He told one of his friends, I lost 15 years of my life. And when I got out, I chose to be somebody. You wasn't even locked up and you wasted 15 years of your life. And you still a nobody. Crazy part about this story is, it's based on a true story. I did tweak it to help people understand that it's the choices that you make in life that'll get you in certain places in life. So whether good or bad, the choices you make is because of your free will. And the person that always hold themselves accountable is the person that will always grow.